I'm 27 years old. I'm a dentist in London. If you'd asked me a few years ago what success looked like, I'd probably have described the life that I have right now. Go to university, build a career, earn a good income, keep moving forward. To be honest, I can't really complain. Dentistry has treated me extremely well. I enjoy what I do, it pays me well, and has given me opportunities that a lot of people would love to have. So this isn't going to be one of those videos where I tell you the traditional career path is broken. I don't think it is. But over the last year, I've noticed something that I can't stop thinking about. People with good careers are still trying to build something else. Doctors are starting YouTube channels, lawyers are building businesses, influencers are always selling you something. People who already have stable careers are spending their evenings after work working on projects that have nothing to do with their day job. That made me stop and ask a simple question. Why are they actually chasing this? At first, I assumed money was the answer. It seems obvious. But the more I thought about it, the less convinced I became. If making money was the only goal, surely people would put their extra energy into their own existing careers, work more hours, aim for the next promotion, move into a higher paying role. Because building something online is usually the harder option. It often takes years before you know whether it's actually going anywhere. And there's no guaranteed salary, no manager telling you that you're doing well, no predictable path. So why are so many people still choosing it? I don't think it's just about earning more. I think it's about owning more. When I go to work tomorrow, I'll spend the day helping patients. I'll finish in the evening, go home, and do it all over again the next day. That's the agreement. I give my time and my skills. In return, I earn an income. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's how most professions work. But a YouTube video does not work like that. You make it once, from that point on, it's out there. Maybe nobody watches it. Maybe somebody discovers it a year from now. You genuinely have no idea. That uncertainty is frustrating, but it's also what makes it interesting. For the first time, you're creating something that isn't completely tied to the hours that you worked that day. The more I looked into it, the more I realized our generation has access to opportunities that would have sounded ridiculous 20 years ago. My parents couldn't decide one evening that they wanted to share an idea with thousands of people from all across the world. There was really no way of doing that. But today, there is. You still have to create something worth watching. You still have to earn people's attention, but you no longer need somebody to open the door for you. That barrier has disappeared. I don't think we've fully appreciated how big of a change this is, because we've kind of grown up with it. To us, uploading a video feels completely normal, but historically speaking, it's anything but normal. Another thing I've been thinking about is how differently people define success. I think previous generations would have valued stability above everything else. Find a secure career, stay there, build your life around it. That makes complete sense. My generation seems to value something slightly different. Flexibility, the ability to make choices, the ability to change direction if you want to. Neither way of thinking is right or wrong. They're just different, and I think the internet has played a huge role in that shift. One idea that keeps coming back to me is geographical freedom. Before I started this channel, I'd never really questioned where I'd live. I assumed my career would answer that for me. If my work was in London, then London is where life happened. Simple. But now I'm not so sure. Let's imagine someone spends the next 5 years building a YouTube channel. Nothing extraordinary. They're not getting millions of views, but eventually it starts bringing in an extra £1,000 a month. That's definitely not enough to replace a professional salary in London, but that's missing the point. The interesting part isn't the amount, it's the flexibility. That same £1,000 means something completely different depending on where you are. Take somewhere like Southeast Asia. I've spoken about this before, about wanting to spend more time there. Not because I'm trying to avoid work, I actually enjoy working. What appeals to me is having the option to decide where I live instead of automatically living wherever my profession happens to be. That's a very different way of looking at your future, and I think that's why online income has become so appealing. It doesn't just create another source of money, it creates a source of geographical freedom. I've also started questioning whether relying on one income is as safe as it used to be. That isn't me saying jobs are disappearing, it's simply recognizing how quickly the world has changed. Technology moves fast. AI is already changing the way people work. Nobody really knows what the next 10 or 20 years will look like from now. That makes me think differently about building something outside of my profession, not because I expect dentistry to disappear, but because I don't like the idea of depending on one thing for the rest of my working life. That feels like a sensible question to ask, regardless of what career that you are in. The biggest surprise for me isn't that I started a YouTube channel, it's that I started looking at my career differently. A year ago, I saw dentistry as my future. Now, I see it as one part of my future. That's a subtle difference, but I think it's an important one. I'm not trying to replace my profession, I'm just trying to build something alongside it. Whether this channel succeeds or not, that feels secondary. The bigger challenge has already happened. It's changed the questions I'm asking myself. Instead of asking, how do I progress in my career? I'm now asking, what can I build over the next 10 years? That's been the real shift for me. And the more I thought about that question, the more I realized that this video was never really about YouTube. It's about ownership. That's where I think everything starts to make sense. So why did I start this channel? Honestly, I reached a point where I wanted to know whether I could build something outside of my career. Not because I was unhappy as a dentist. I simply just didn't want my profession to be the only option I had. One thing I've realized is how easy it is to spend an entire evening consuming things you barely remember tomorrow. I still watch YouTube and I enjoy it, but creating something feels completely different. At the end of the evening, you've actually moved an idea forward. Even if it's only a rough script or a better thumbnail, you've made progress. That feeling is surprisingly addictive. Creating has also changed the way I look at other people's work. Before I started making videos, I'd finish one and immediately click on the next. But now I'm paying attention to completely different things. Why did I keep watching that video? Why did that explanation make sense? And why did one video make me lose attention halfway through? You stop watching passively and you start learning from what you're watching. That's probably why I think more people should build something online. Not because I think everyone should become a YouTuber, but because creating is a way better to spend your free time than consuming. It doesn't have to replace your career, it doesn't even have to make money. The act of building something changes the way you think. I also think we underestimate how much progress comes from consistency. Spend 1 hour every evening building something for 1 year, and you'll be surprised by how much you have created. Most people already have that hour. It just disappears into scrolling without us noticing. The other reason I'd encourage people to build something is because it's never been easier to test an idea. Years ago, trying something new often meant taking a huge financial risk. Today, you can find out whether an idea has potential without turning your life upside down. I think that's an opportunity worth taking advantage of. Now, I don't know whether this channel will succeed, maybe it will, or maybe it'll go nowhere, but I already know it's changed the way that I think. And if that's something after a relatively short amount of time, I'm curious to see what will happen if I stick with it for another 5 years. Maybe you've been thinking about starting something as well, whether it's YouTube or something completely different. I think you owe it to yourself to find out what you're capable of, because one day you'll get an answer.